let's just start with the king of YouTube himself, MrBeast, who put it perfectly: if they don't click, they don't watch. That's it. It's that simple and it's that brutal. You could have the best video in the world, but if the thumbnail doesn't do its job, it just doesn't matter. And getting that click, well, it's harder than ever. Why? Because you're up against this number, 3.7 million. That is how many videos are uploaded to YouTube every single day. Your thumbnail isn't just a little picture. It is a billboard fighting for survival in the most crowded place on the internet. So, how do you win that fight? Well, we've broken down the playbook into 4 simple parts. First, we'll cover why thumbnails are everything. Then we'll dive into the psychology of the click. After that, we'll give you the irresistible design formula. And finally, we'll walk you through the final test that you have to run. Okay, let's jump in. Part 1. Why thumbnails are everything. Because really, it's a game of clicks first, and then a game of great videos. If you need proof, just look at this. This shows the raw, unfiltered power of a thumbnail. The creator Callaway posted a video, and it got about 1,700 views. Kind of disappointing, right? Well, 6 months later, he reposted the exact same video, but with a new thumbnail. The result? 1.2 million views and 6 figures in revenue. Nothing changed but the thumbnail. That's the power we're talking about. Which brings us to section 2, the psychology of the click. Because before you even think about opening a design tool, you have to understand what's going on inside your viewer's brain. And, to really drive this home, YouTube consultant Patty Galloway says a thumbnail is like 80 to 90% psychology and only 10 to 20% actual design. So all that time you spend in Photoshop, it's wasted if you don't nail the psychology first. So what is that psychology? Well, it all boils down to this one beautiful concept, the curiosity gap. It's that space between what we know and what we desperately want to know. Your thumbnail's job isn't to give an answer. Its job is to open a question. It creates an itch in the viewer's brain that they are biologically wired to need to scratch. And that's what gets the click. And this all happens in a little 3-step dance that takes less than a second. Step 1 is the visual stun gun. Something in your thumbnail, a face, a weird object, just grabs their eye and stops the scroll. Then, step 2, they immediately glance at the title value hunting, to figure out what this video is promising. And finally, step 3, their eyes dart back to the thumbnail for visual validation, to make sure the image backs up that promise. Thumbnail to title, title back to thumbnail. Boom, they click. So how do you create that visual stun gun? You use things our brains are literally hardwired to notice. Think of these as cheat codes for attention. Faces showing really strong emotion, shock, joy, you name it. Money or symbols of wealth, anything suggesting danger or tension. Bright, popping, contrasting colors, and big, easy-to-read numbers. These are your scroll stoppers. Okay, so now that we've got the psychology down, let's move on to section 3, the irresistible design formula. This is where we turn all that brain science into an actual, clickable image. And the golden rule here, according to Callaway, is just ridiculously simple. 3 core elements. Max. That's it. You have to remember, people are seeing these on tiny little phone screens while they're scrolling. Clutter is your absolute worst enemy. Your goal is instant understanding, and that means you gotta be ruthless. A great way to think about building that simplicity is Abraline Alter's framework, the 3 C's. First is contents, which is what you're putting in the thumbnail. Second is composition, that's where you're putting it. And third is contrast, which is the pop, how you make the important stuff stand out. What, where, and pop. Simple. And this is so crucial because it helps you avoid what creator Nate Black calls the dead zone. That's the stuff on the left. It's when creators try so hard to look professional that they end up with something cluttered, confusing, and just dead. What you want is the unthumbnail on the right. It feels real. It uses an authentic image, enhances it, and adds a little bit of text. It's clear, it's simple, and man, it works. All right, we're at the final section. You've made your thumbnail, but how do you actually know if it's any good before you hit publish? This is the final test. You have to ask yourself this brutally honest question. Is my design actually good? And here's a secret. Your opinion doesn't matter. You're too close to it. You've been staring at it for an hour. You need objective, lightning-fast tests. So here are 3 essential checks. Number 1, the clarity test. Shrink your thumbnail down to the size it would be in the sidebar on YouTube. Is it still crystal clear? Number 2, the contrast test. Put your thumbnail right next to your biggest competitors.
Does it pop out, or does it just blend into the noise? And number 3, my favorite, the glance test. Show it to a friend for just 2 seconds, Then take it away and ask them what the video is about. If they can't tell you, it's a fail. Back to the drawing board.
And here's maybe the biggest pro tip of all, and every top creator does this. Never, ever, ever rely on just one thumbnail. You're just guessing at that point. The best practice is to make at least 3 totally different versions for every single video. That way you can test them and let the audience's clicks tell you what's best. And all of this brings us to one final, really important thought from Calloway that kind of reframes this whole thing. He says, clickbait is only clickbait when the content doesn't match the promise. If the content is good, then baiting the click is simply required. So think about that. Your job isn't to trick people. Your job is to make a promise so compelling that people have to click. And then you deliver a video so good that they're glad they did. That's the secret.